So, it's going to snow. We're going to have snow. We're going to have ice. We're going to have rain. And yeah, we're going to have travel headaches, unfortunately, as well. Let's talk about when all this mess is getting started in the Monday edition of the Texas Weather Roundup. Good morning to you. It is the 6th of January, 2025. I'm Texas Storm Chasers Baldyinchief David Reimer, and we are gearing up for what now appears to be a winter storm event for the state of Texas. Not the entire state, mind you, but this will include a decent chunk of real estate, including folks who may not typically get to enjoy the winter wonderland known as icy doomsday mischief, but, well, here we are. It is what it is. Let's just get into it. We're going to pop over to the high-res rapid refresh model. It's going to take us through today and Tuesday. Now, winter weather mischief as a whole is not expected to get started until at the earliest. The main winter storm isn't going to be until Wednesday afternoon, but mostly Wednesday night late into Thursday. That being said, while you can barely see it on this graphic because I was the doofus who thought it was a good idea to have cloud cover on, first off, you can actually see the pretty cool cloud waves over the Gulf of Mexico. That's from the strong northerly winds from Crashy the cold front. We are anticipating now we could see 2 rounds of winter weather mischief this week. First round may begin tomorrow night into Wednesday morning. The Panhandle, West Texas, we may see an inch or two of snow, including places like Lubbock, Amarillo, points west, which would easily stick given the fact temperatures will be in the teens and 20s and will have been since yesterday. So light accumulating snow, couple inches possible, Panhandle, West Texas, Tuesday evening into Wednesday morning. And yes, that would cover roads quite easily, so untreated roads, unplowed roads would be difficult at times. Now, that takes us through Tuesday evening. Rest of the state, we're looking pretty much dry. You can see north winds continue. Yeah, we're going to have cloud cover at times. It's going to stay cold. And then we're going to have a reinforcing shot of cold coming in Wednesday. Every night this week, for all intent and purposes, will get below freezing unless you're in deep South Texas or the Rio Grande Valley. It's as simple as that in terms of what our expectations are temperature-wise. We will go into that in our usual sequential order detail here as we continue on through the video. Now, here is the setup for later this week, and a big thank you to the National Weather Service in San Angelo for putting this graphic together. This explains it well in a way Baldyinchief would not have been able to convey otherwise, because Baldyinchief may be able to talk on videos, but he's not great at making super duper fancy graphics like this. So, we had 2 scenarios in the long-range weather ensemble model land over the last several days. Solution 1, which is now the most likely solution, has a upper-level storm system passing close by to us, allowing the storm system to remain. So I have a fire scanner on my desk. I was listening to a call, allowing the storm system to essentially keep the cold air in place without any sort of what we would call warm air advection, strong southerly winds. Scenario number 2, which originally looked like the most likely situation to occur until 2 days ago, would have the upper level low sitting over Baja California, bringing southerly winds back to Texas, allowing for warmer, more moist air to return to the state, comparatively speaking, and prop us up above freezing. Well, with system number 1 overhead, we're not going to get that southerly flow, and that is going to allow the cold air that's already in place to remain in place, and also give us a better chance of precipitation, which in the presence of cold air means, yes, winter mischief. And a majority of the weather models, both deterministic and ensembles. The ensembles are literally dozens of the single deterministic model initialized with slightly different parameters to better cover the list of possible scenarios. And if they all show a similar solution, that increases forecast confidence. And that is pretty much what is happening here. 75% of them are showing the winter weather scenario occurring now. 25% are not. And these were, 2 days ago, it was 60% not showing it, 40% were. So that's why confidence in the forecast has increased, even though we're looking several days in advance. Now, I'm going to actually pop over to the GFS first. We're going to take a look at the American weather model and the European weather model. A couple of you a few days ago were like, well, why aren't you showing us both? Well, Here, we'll do it this way. Here is the this is the global forecast system. I didn't change the upper third because, well, apparently it's Doofus Monday for Baldy, but just believe me, it's the GFS weather model. You can see as we go through Wednesday night and Thursday, precipitation storm system moves across the state. Where temperatures at the surface are below freezing, you can see we transition to a winter mix. And then a bit north of that, we have all snow, where the entire atmospheric column from the surface up is under 32 degrees Fahrenheit. The winter mix is where we have a thin layer of warmer air a few thousand feet above the surface, which melts the snowflakes as they fall through that above freezing air mass. But then as they re-enter the sub-freezing air mass closer to the surface, they freeze back up into either sleet pellets or freezing rain. That's what the winter mix shows. And it's probably some snow as well. Now, one thing I want to emphasize here is we're just looking for general timeline at this point. I don't want to nitpick over exactly where the rain, snow, freezing line is. These are longer range weather models that are more coarse. They're not as high resolution. So at this point, we're still far enough out. I just want to focus where, well, for one, precipitation is. Two, do we have any corridors of enhanced issue? Clearly, the GFS is indicating we're going to have heavy snow. Big country, Concho Valley, Permian Basin, even down to the borderland, moving into portions of North Texas, Northwest Texas, Texoma, parts of Central Texas, Northeast Texas, parts of Northern East Texas, even parts of the Central Texas and the Brazos Valley. Thursday morning, Thursday afternoon, it moves everything out by Thursday evening ahead of Friday morning. You can see this model is mostly indicative of rain above freezing temperatures at the surface across the Golden Triangle, Southeast Texas, most of South Central Texas, but it would be a very close call just north and west of San Antonio. Austin, very close call. Bryan College Station, very close call. And again, we're not trying to get super nitpicky right now. We're just trying to pick guidelines. We'll deal with the whole where is the freezing line going to be over the next few days, because that is one element that even if we have high confidence in a winter storm now, that is going to fluctuate somewhat. Those of you who know forecasting winter weather in Texas over the last, well, forever really, but last few years especially, that range snow line, we're always going to have a surprise within 24 hours. And typically we have to deal with the just-in-time cold air where precipitation is ending as the cold air arrives. And if that lines up perfectly, we get some snow. Well, this is a case where the cold air is already here and it's going to mostly stay in place. So that's why confidence is higher ahead of time this go round versus our typical low confidence, it may happen, probably not situation. So let's go ahead. And again, this is the GFS weather model. I'm going to show you the European weather model. Now, it's not going to be as cute and fancy as the graphic system we typically use, which is one reason I don't show you this so often. Times in the top left, you're going to see Zulu, 12 Zulu, 12 Zulu, 6 a.m. Central, 0 Zulu, 6 p.m. Central, 18 Zulu is noon, and 6 Zulu is midnight during standard time. Now, this model, again, has some snow, West Texas Panhandle, Tuesday night, Wednesday morning. As we get into Wednesday evening, some scattered snow showers, far West Texas. Then we really ramp up going into Thursday morning. Thursday afternoon, Thursday evening, heavy snow across the Concho Valley, the Big Country, North Texas, Texoma, Northwest Texas. And then it keeps things going into Thursday night across Northeast Texas before ending by noon Friday. Winter mix, parts of the Northern Edwards Plateau, the Hill Country, parts of Central Texas, South Central Texas, parts of the Brazos Valley, and East Texas. This would generally keep the Houston area pure rain, Corpus Christi, rain, Del Rio, Laredo, rain. San Antonio, it's going to be close. North and west parts of San Antonio could have issues with ice. Austin, it's going to be close. Bryan College Station, it's going to be close. DFW, Abilene, San Angelo. At this point, confidence is pretty high in a mostly heavy snow event. So that's why we're pretty confident in saying we are going to have problems with travel. And again, I'm just showing you this model to indicate that this is a little slower and thus would be a late Thursday morning through Friday morning event versus the American weather model, which is generally a late Wednesday, Thursday morning through Thursday evening event. We still have some timing issues to tune out here. So Where does that lead us? Well, here's our snow graphic. And look, I'm not trying to get specific with the exact precipitation types or exactly how much snow we're going to see. I will say there is a moderate to high confidence we will have at least 1 inch of snow where we have this blue shaded region, which includes, the Panhandle, West Texas, the Permian Basin, the Borderland, the Big Bend, the Trans-Pecos, the Concho Valley, the Big Country, Northwest Texas, Texoma, North Texas, the Arklatex, Northeast Texas, including places like Amarillo, Lubbock, Midland, Pecos, Fort Stockton, Alpine, Marfa, El Paso, San Angelo, Abilene, Childress, Wichita Falls, all of the DFW Metroplex, Waco, Tyler, Longview, Paris, Texarkana. Best chance right now for at least 1 inch of snow. Although that being said, notice I said at least 1 inch. There's going to be a corridor in here that's probably going to get at least 40, maybe 6+ inches of snow. Depending on how exactly this sets up, this could be a big snowmaker. But I'm not going to start, pushing out that kind of crazy guidance, 3-4 days in advance. Let's get into the range of the high-res models, within 48 hours. And then we'll be able to start pinning down where exactly we may see, half a foot of snow or something like that. And that's certainly not out of the realm of possibility. So I'm just saying at least 1 inch of snow because, well, for most of us, we're not going to have plowed roads. And, whatever does get driven on will melt slightly and then freeze up instantly because it's going to be in the teens and 20s. So travel disruptions are expected, both driving and aviation. And at this point, I do feel comfortable saying that if you have plans Thursday, and honestly, probably into parts of Friday, maybe as soon as Wednesday night, you're going to want to start alternative planning that. Now, we have the purple shaded zone. This does include portions of the Hill Country, Central Texas, the Brazos Valley, East Texas. I may have been able to extend this a little further south. This is where we have at least moderate confidence where we could see freezing rain, sleet, snow mix with the potential for ice accumulations of 1/100th of an inch to over 1/10th of an inch. Now, at this point, I want to be clear. Ice storm criteria is typically 1/4 inch and above. We're not up there yet, but this would be problematic to say the least for travel. It's cold. It's cold now. It's going to stay cold through the onset of this event, which is going to allow the infrastructure, roads, etc., to cool off, soil to cool. So, how typically we're at about 32 degrees Fahrenheit and you just have to see if we're going to actually start freezing up. Well, in this case, the infrastructure is already going to be cold. So we're going to be able to freeze up pretty quickly. I hate to use this as a comparative event. It's not going to be like this, I don't think. But for those of you who remember 2021, remember the onset of the first winter storm right as it got cold, and then, we started getting some freezing drizzle up in DFW. We had that 100+ car pileup on 35W on the express lanes because we had some freezing drizzle and how cold it already was, so it just iced everything over almost immediately. I'm a little worried that's what we may do with this, down where we see freezing rain. So that is the concern. So even though y'all are going to be borderline, you're going to be right near freezing or just below it, there's concern because we're cold already that the infrastructure may freeze up quickly. And we could go from nothing to uh-oh-ville in the the slicky doom off the road department. So that's what we're going to be watching for. And again, these lines are going to change. Don't nitpick exactly where they're drawn. I promise you my drawing skills aren't that great. But the northwestern 2/3 of Texas does have the potential, if not increasing probability, of a winter storm. And it could be impactful in the travel department. As we go Wednesday night, Thursday, and even though things are going to stop falling from the sky Thursday night to Friday morning, we're probably going to have residual issues continue for most of Friday. Now, this is not going to be an event where we're going to stay below freezing for a week afterwards. If we had this today, we'd be in trouble. But this is going to be towards the end of our cold snap, which means we're going to get above freezing. Most folks on Friday, everyone will get above freezing on Saturday. But Friday night, we're going to get below freezing again, which means any sort of melting is going to ice up, which is why we're going to have concerns for travel continuing Friday and even into parts of Saturday. Okay, so that's the expectation. Wednesday night through Friday morning is our general time frame, beginning in western portions of Texas, spreading east across the state on Thursday, departing late Thursday night or Friday morning. There is the potential for a light round of snow Tuesday night into Wednesday morning, Panhandle, West Texas, which could drop an inch or two of snow and kind of kickstart the event for them. But for most of us, it's going to be Wednesday night, Thursday into Friday morning. And there will be rain south of this, by the way. I just don't have that drawn. And these lines will get changed as we get closer, and we'll start actually throwing out accumulation maps. If confidence continues on the forecast this afternoon, I may throw out a more specific accumulation map. But again, at this point, I just don't want to get too specific. I know folks are throwing weather model maps out all over the internet, but look, it's just not our style. Maybe it's because I'm Baldyinchief and I'm more conservative, but I prefer to get it in the range of the higher resolution model data to where we can actually start seeing where some of this banding may set up, make sure we're not going to have any surprises, because I'd rather be able to at least say, yes, we do have a high confidence in at least an inch of snow, but guess what? We could see 6 times that, if not more, in spots. That's true. But I don't want to say that now or put it on a map here and then completely have to shift it 200 miles in a later update. So that's why we're doing this more impact-based map where, guess what? Are you in the blue zone, the pink zone? You're going to have issues with travel, probably Thursday continuing into Friday. And yes, we do have a light blue up in the northern panhandle. That's where we could see lighter snow accumulations. So that's that. And we'll keep you updated on it. Now let's talk temperatures over the next few days. Here's today's high temperature forecast. Guess what? It's going to be cool, but it's going to get worse later this week. Let's put it that way. 30s northern half of the state, 40s center third, still in the 50s across deep South Texas. Y'all enjoy that, seriously. Tonight, we're expecting a freeze across the northern 80% of Texas. Temperatures falling into the teens, 20s, low 30s. Houston Metro, you may stay right at freezing. El Paso, you may stay right above freezing. And the Rio Grande Valley, you're going to struggle to get below freezing at all this week. You may flirt with it at times, but yeah. Tomorrow, cooler. We're expecting upper 20s to 30s, northern 40% of the state. Temperatures in the 40s tomorrow afternoon down to Interstate 10, and then it looks like we're still in the 50s down in deep South Texas, the Rio Grande Valley. Tomorrow night, a little warmer across South Texas, the coastal plains. We'll make it up in or down into the 30s to low 40s. Northern 2/3 of the state essentially along and north of Interstate 10, but this time including the Borderland, El Paso, the Big Bend region, teens and 20s. As we get into Wednesday afternoon, things do cool off comparatively. Highs may struggle to get above freezing across portions of the northern half of the state, especially if we have snow start falling earlier. We're going to be in the 30s to upper 20s, northern half of the state, 30s and 40s, mostly 40s, southern half of the state. Thursday morning's low temperature forecast. Again, this is where things are going to get tricky as we're going to start having precip falling. You can see mostly below freezing, northern 2/3 of the state, near or above freezing, southern third of the state. High temperatures on Thursday. Now, this will be dependent on where we have snow falling. I guarantee you, if we end up with heavy snowfall in parts of the Concho Valley, Big Country, North Texas, Texoma, Northwest Texas are not going to get above freezing. So this may be this is going to change, I bet. But right now we're looking at highs mostly in the 30s across the state, 40s to right around maybe 50 along the immediate Texas Gulf Coast. Friday morning temperatures below freezing, northern 2/3 of the state. These are probably going to drop some where we do have a snowpack established. Friday's high temperature forecast. Now this is good news. Notice it gets the entire state above freezing. We're warming back up into the 50s South Texas. But if we are probably going to have a snowpack. Where we have a snowpack, temperatures are going to struggle to get above freezing most of the day. We'll hopefully be able to get a degree or two above freezing Friday afternoon. Hopefully we can get some sunshine, and that'll also start helping to melt down some of that snowpack. But whatever does melt down or get treated is going to end up freezing. Friday night. We're all going to get below freezing again, except South Texas Friday night, it looks like. So we're going to have to watch for black ice. And then here's Saturday. We should all get above freezing. 60s are back in deep South Texas. Most of the state will make it up into the 40s, if not the 50s. But again, where we have that snowpack still, by Saturday, we will see a temperature differential, since that snowpack will try to keep parts of the state cooler comparatively. But the good news is, again, this is not going to be a long duration snow event after the fact. We're going to be able to get rid of it within a day or two. So this won't be a case where we're trapped at home for, a week. So please keep that in mind if you're going to go bulk shopping and panic buying. It's a day or two. It's not going to be a week. But I would expect for the northern 2/3 of the state, again, to have problems traveling Thursday, if not Friday as well. Both roads and by aviation. So that is that. We're going to keep an eye on the data today. And again, there'll be changes to the forecast. I mean, there still is bust potential for here for sure. I mean, we could somehow, there's still a 25% chance this goes completely into the gutter and we're like, bye-bye. But forecast confidence is high at this point. I mean, the Weather Service is on board. Obviously, the other weather outlets are on board. And I mean, it is what it is. So that's why we're talking about it now, days in advance, and why we are putting out, impact-based graphics days in advance. So hopefully that explains some of the forecast methodology. Hopefully I've conveyed some of the uncertainties articulately enough, and we'll wait and see. This video is apparently over 20 minutes, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. So we'll be posting additional updates throughout the day on social media. I'll try to put out another video this evening, hopefully not 20 minutes long. It's not going to be 20 minutes long. If it is, I'm not drinking caffeine again, and we'll keep you updated. I know snow in Texas is, crazy. I mean, I could look at our social media analytics and traffic numbers off our app and website and tell you that, but I'm not trying to, get 15 minutes of fame here or, crazy traffic numbers. I'm just trying to tell you what it looks like is going to happen. The best I can do. So that'll be it for your Monday morning edition of the Texas Weather Roundup. As always, you can get your local weather forecast, interactive weather radar, and more in the free Texas Storm Chasers mobile app, along with these video updates as well. You can find us on YouTube, Texas Weather Center, and on the web, texasstormchasers.com. We'll talk to you all again later today. Have a good day. God bless.